YouTube. This is your boy, Alex. I'm back. And I decided to give you guys back-to-back YouTube videos. I said I was going to go ahead and do that video of men's favorite supermodels, and I came up with a good title for it. Because I'm going to take a nice little 2 to 3 day break, so I don't want no one to be whining and complaining when I'm taking a break for about 2 or 3 days. You know, come up with some better content. And, we're getting closer to when it's going to be midsummer, so, plus people are anticipating the return of the gym. And the reason why I say give me 2 to 3 days is because I am going to make a fitness channel, and the fitness channel is going to be 100% everything devoted to fitness. For people who are into fitness, watch out, I'm going to have a fitness channel. And the fitness channel is just going to talk about everything that is fitness and sports. I might call it the Alexander Sports, or I might call it the Alexander Fitness Sports Channel, where on that channel it'll be a combination of fitness and sports, and it'll be relating mostly to more fitness and sometimes sports. And that'll be a channel that'll be just be talking about, how to get in athletic shape, what to motivate you, what to inspire you. I haven't really made a fitness channel, and I decided I'm going to make a fitness channel. Not everything's going to fit on this channel. Too much content on one channel can mess up your YouTube channel. Alright, this one's going to be called Sex Game. The top 10 sexiest models, or should I say Victoria's Secret models, men would like to date. Now, the reason why I'm calling it that is because every man, whether they were in high school, college, or at work, or at the gym, or at the park playing basketball, or at the bar, you've had a conversation with your best friend from high school and college telling you, if you had the chance, if you could be rich and famous, if you could play professional basketball and football, could you date some of these super hot, attractive women that are swimsuit models, supermodels, Victoria's Secret models? And if you had the chance, which ones would you date and why? So this video is a video that men probably been asking for quite some time, because people want to know when I'm going to return to my original content. This is not my original content. This is just a video that's a video that I do. I do videos for fun and entertainment. I do serious videos when it's time to get serious. Then I do videos that's new content, and then I bring back the original content. This is not the original content. This is just another video because it's a good Sunday, and, why not just make one video when I can make two videos? Keep your spirits up until the news breaks out that it's time for the return of going back to the gym. That's how the fitness channel will come about. Coming in at number 10 is a African American woman, or you can say Jamaican, Grace Jones. Now, Grace Jones at one time in history was considered the standard of beauty. She represents that it's okay to be a dark-skinned black woman, and she came in a period where they did not let black women become models. It was always white women all the time. And when she graduated from high school and college, she did the impossible. She came in her mid-20s. She was tall, 6 feet, 6'1", and basically she became a model. Now, in the beginning, she couldn't speak no English, and then about 10 years later, she learned how to speak English. And then somewhere in those 70s, she got to truly shine. She popped up in a bunch of movies, a bunch of television shows. She popped up in a James Bond movie. When you get picked for a James Bond movie, you have arrived. And, of course, later she'll pop up in movies like Boomerang with Eddie Murphy, Robin Givens. One of her best portrayals of her actually playing herself. By that time, she was already in her 40s. By the time she started doing movies, she got into her 40s. And by the time she got to television, she was in her 50s. But she did a whole lot of things. She did acting, television and film, commercials. She became a songwriter. She did some rock albums because she likes rock and roll. See, that's where black women get the black women rock from. They actually got it from her because she actually started it. And at that time, she broke in, and this was her time to shine. So you got to show this icon, you got to show this legend some mad respect because if it weren't for her, dark-skinned women would never get the respect and credit that they actually deserve. So if it weren't for Grace Jones, people would not be able to do what they do because it was her who broke that barrier and set the mark. And then she passed the torch to the next generation. Coming in at number 9 is Naomi Campbell. Now, Naomi Campbell came in the late 80s, early 1990s, and she was, right from the start, very physically, sexually attractive. She was from the United Kingdom. I had never heard a black woman like her with a sexy accent. Like, all I knew is she was tall, she was good looking, she was a model, and she reminded me of my mother. That's all I knew about Naomi Campbell. I didn't even know who she was. I saw her magazines, her pictures, I saw her in commercials. At that time, Kevin Kline was getting behind her, and she was getting into the movies and the television shows, and that was the only way I knew who she was. Now, my mom had a friend back when she was in high school and college that met her, and my mom auditioned at the same agency that she had auditioned at one time. See, this is like really a tribute to my mother because my mother once upon a time was a model, an aspiring model. My mom saw these women, so she felt inspired. When something inspires you, you go for it. And basically that's what she was doing. She was doing what inspires her. And basically, to make a long story short, I saw her in movies and television shows, and right in the prime of her career in the 1990s, they were trying to pit Naomi Campbell against Tyra Banks. Both were in their prime. Both were getting into the movies and television shows. Both had commercials. Both were making literally millions of dollars. Both were dating professional basketball and football players. They were being pent against each other in their primes. And they were trying to make it seem like, you know how they did Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield? That's what they were trying to do with these women. Both were black women. Both got to be in movies and television shows. Both dated film directors, athletes. Both were considered the best in the 1990s. And there is some jealousy and resentment on her part because Janice Dickinson passed the torch to Tyra Banks and not to Naomi Campbell. And Naomi Campbell kind of came maybe a year or 2 years either before or after Tyra Banks. She's just as beautiful, just as talented. She also has her own modeling agency, you know, and every now and then you hear the talks, the urban legends, they don't like each other, and every now and then they have to come out and basically say that's not true, that's a lie. Then you hear there's more talk, there's more gossip. How do I know? Because these are my mom's idols, and a lot of the men when I was in high school was talking about if you had a chance, who would you date, Naomi Campbell or Tyra Banks? Like, and a lot of times I would never say anything. I would just, not want to be in the discussion. It was like, come on, Alex, you got to be in the discussion. And I was like, I'm trying to stay out of that discussion. And it was like, you got to come in the discussion. So I would right off the bat choose who I chose, but you got to put her on the list because it would not be a completed list if we didn't put her on here. Like, if she saw this video, she'd probably get mad and be like, how dare you not put me on the list? So she's on the list. Coming in at number 8 is the woman who was the golden standard of being a model, Janice Dickinson. Everybody knows who she is. If you don't, it's okay. If you were born after 1987, it's okay. But she was one of these American-born models that is revealed as a legend, as an icon. Everyone wanted to date her. Professional basketball players, football players, actors. She dated Sylvester Stallone, is highly profiled. How do I know? Because I've watched Sylvester Stallone's acting career. At one time, I actually wanted to be just like Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jean-Claude Van Damme. And she actually were dating all of those guys at one point. Can you actually believe that? But she was like, how should I put this? She was kind of like, there was Michael Jordan and then there was Magic. She was like Magic in the modeling business because all the girls were trying to look like her. At that time, no one had never seen her like that before. Like, she was the one that started it all. Every time they went to a modeling agency, they would put her picture on the wall. And when I was a little kid and my mom was doing modeling, they had a big giant picture of her from when she started in the 70s and the 80s. And basically, it was trying to set the standard that if you want to look beautiful, this is who you look like. See, when you're a little kid and you see like 50, 60 women all standing outside trying to become models, you don't know what's going on. Here I am, a little kid, trying to figure out what's going on, and you wonder why today, every time I see supermodels or girls that are models, I can easily figure out who's a model. And once I find out that's what their profession is, they're blown away by it because it's one of my superpowers. The girl's tall, the girl's athletic, she's good looking. I'll straight out say model, and they're like, how you know? And I'm like Sylvester Stallone, I'm like your football players, I'm like your basketball players. I like supermodels, particularly Victoria's Secret models. I used to, keep this between me and you fellas, I used to wait until my mom wasn't around, and I would sneak into the room and steal the magazine of my favorite crushes. And I'm going to get to who are my favorite crushes. You'll be blown away and shocked by who are my favorite crushes. Yeah, I got in trouble, got my ass whooped like about 4 or 5 times, but that's what you do when you're a kid. It was either Playboy, Hustler magazine, Jet magazine, and then it was Victoria's Secrets, and I would always steal the Victoria's Secrets and get my ass whooped. Um, yeah, she set the mark for what it would have to be. Ultimately, she would pass the torch between either Naomi Campbell or Tyra Banks. Coming in at number 7 is my favorite crush, Cindy Crawford. She came in the late 80s, early 90s. She was like 6'1", almost 6'2". And if you wanted to make a television show called Xena the Warrior Princess, she would have been perfect for the role. I mean, the reason why I say that is because a lot of people thought she could have played the character. Like, immediately when they first saw her, she was like brand new. And I had crushes on this woman. She popped up in everything. She was in movies, television shows, magazines, commercials. Like, she was in the prime of her career. In fact, if anyone could, like, beat Janice Dickinson and compete and rival Tyra Banks and Naomi Campbell, it was Cindy Crawford. Because no one has seen anything like her. Nobody knew that she could come in and do what she did. And she dominated the game for like at least 10 years. Usually by the time you get like 27, 28, 30, that's it for your modeling career. She lasts 10 years as a model. And then she transitioned into an actress, wrote some books. Then we didn't see for her quite a while. And then we saw her on those network television shows, the ones where you guys see her now, where she's in her 40s or 50s, and she don't even look her age. Now, say what you will, some of y'all might say plastic surgery, something y'all, like when they did that Proactive, she popped up on Proactive, and she still looks in great shape. She still looks like her. Now, she's not in her prime no more, but at the time, she was bad, man. I mean, she was like the baddest white girl I had ever seen. I mean, before any of these other girls came in the game dominating, she, like I said, if anyone could surpass Janice Dickinson, it was her. And if anyone could rival Naomi Campbell and Tyra Banks, it was Cindy Crawford. That's why I would take my mom's Victoria's Secret magazines and hide them under my bed, and every time she cleaned my room up, because I had Power Ranger toys, I had Ninja Turtle toys, and she would see that I kept taking them because I saw this 6'1", 6'2", fine ass woman, Cindy Crawford. That's when my mom started whooping my ass because I was taking the magazines. I was taking them. I was literally taking them, and I would do what you see in the movies where a guy takes the Playboy and basically hold it in his hand while he sleeps like a baby. That's when my mom started to be like, all right, gotta get the belt because you ain't ready for that yet. You're supposed to be watching Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles. All of us have gotten our ass whooped for something. If you're a man and you're 100% honest, you will admit that at some point in time in history, you got your ass whooped for doing something you had no business doing. You can at least contest to that. Well, I did that as a kid. I did a whole lot of childish stuff as a kid. Take my dad's keys and run throughout the house. And when I was with my mom, I would take her Victoria's Secret magazines because Cindy Crawford was on there. And the second reason why I got my ass whooped, it's funny, but I'm trying to tell you in a funny way, because I saw girls at 24 Hour Fitness in the 90s that looked built like her. And as soon as I saw her, I go, you look like Cindy Crawford. And all the white girls just started smirking and started laughing and blushing because they knew who I was talking about. Yes, a true story. Coming in at number 6, it's my daddy's crush, Tyra Banks. Everybody loved them some Tyra Banks. People who didn't even watch modeling loved Tyra Banks. I mean, I knew about her because my dad just kept going on and on and on and on about Tyra Banks. She's tall, she's fine. At that time, she was getting into the movies, the television shows. She was in the prime of her career. And she did something that most people don't do. She got on Sports Illustrated. At that time, they couldn't decide who they should get. Naomi Campbell, Tyra Banks, Cindy Crawford. They couldn't decide at the time who should be the face of modeling. And they chose Tyra Banks. And when she got the phone call, it became a big deal because you watch the NBA games, basketball, football, it showed up on the commercials. And Tyra Banks has been in the game for like almost 3 decades because she's been in movies, television shows, her own modeling agency. She's hosted shows. She's even done some songs. And basically, I met her dad. Oh, yeah. About 14 years ago, I was hanging out with a music producer who's no longer here, Richard Charlie Cason, God rest his soul, rest in peace. He was a music producer. He knew a lot of people in the music industry. When I say a lot of people, he knew Ray Charles. He also knew of Tupac when Tupac was around, Dr. Dre, Snoop. He knew all these people. So one day he pulled a prank on me because I thought he was lying. I thought he was full of shit. And next thing I know, he takes me for a ride in Inglewood. And when we get to somebody's house, he told me he plays racquetball. I thought he was just lying when he said racquetball. Next thing I know, it's Tyra Banks' dad opened the door like, hi, young man, how you doing? Oh, man, you big. You need to be lifting. How much you bench press? Because at that time I was like lifting 175. I was like, oh, that's too light, man. You need to lift more than that. And Richard was like, that's Tyra Banks' dad, which it took a while for me to like catch on because when somebody does that, you don't be thinking, man, nah, you just playing, man. You ain't for real. And when you find out they for real, you be like, man. And when I got back home, he started laughing like, taking a while for you to catch on, isn't it? Because he was like, she had just left. So it's the idea of just imagine what could have actually happened. If I got her autograph, I would have given it to my mom because that was my mom's idol. My dad crushed on her, but that was my mom's idol. My mom liked it, Tyra Banks. My mom mirrored herself after Tyra Banks. That's why I said the video is devoted in tribute to my mother. So men like the video because we all have crushes, but like I said, you have a mom or a dad, you're going to be making a video to them. So this is the way I would do, how I remember my mother. Now, coming in at number 6 is Giseie Bundchen. Sorry if I butchered the last name. If I can't say the name properly, there's only one way that you know who this is. All I got to say is one name, you'll know who this is. Tom Brady's wife. Yeah, a lot of people hate the New England Patriots. A lot of people don't like Tom Brady because he wins and kicks ass, but he got a hot ass wife. I mean, just think about it, man. If you were playing in the National Football League, if you were playing smash mouth in your face football, and you were winning championships and whooping ass, wouldn't you want a woman like that? She's tall, she's sexy, she's hot, she's got her own opinion. She's not afraid to speak her mind. And both are rich. He's rich, she's rich. They make millions of dollars together. I mean, just imagine if you could get the ultimate revenge. You graduate high school, you graduate college, and you meet somebody like that, you're going to be wanting that to be your wife, your girlfriend. And they're the power couple. If I was to make a video called the 10 best power couples in the world, they would probably be on that list. And just imagine the success. When you hear people say hard work, dedication, success, you should look at it as just that, success. That will get you this type of woman. Only if you work hard enough, you can get this type of woman. We all go to sleep and we all dream of dating somebody like that. Now, I'm not saying it's not going to happen in real life, and I'm not saying have, super expectations. What I'm saying is, she looks good, and guess what? When she was, in the beauty pageants, and then she was headlining some movies and some television shows, she's better, by far, the most hottest, good-looking Victoria's Secret model I have seen by far. Now, she's up there in age, but she doesn't look like it. Now, you can argue all you want, 100% natural, plastic surgery. Now, nobody's perfect, okay? Everybody has flaws. Nobody's perfect. And plastic surgery or not, she still pulls off the look at her age, still stays in shape. That's what you want anyway, right, fellas? All right, coming in at number 4 is Rosie Huntington. She's from the United Kingdom or from Australia. This is another one of my crushes. The girl is tall, okay? And I saw some girls like this when I was in college. And we all saw her in a movie called Transformers 3. I mean, she was real good in that movie. And she dated a guy named Jason Statham. Perhaps you've heard of him. And guess what? She's pretty good. I didn't think she could act. She could act her ass off. I mean, they should put her in more movies and television shows. And as tall as she is, it does make you wonder how come DC ain't thought about Wonder Woman. I mean, they're tall. She's good looking. She could probably put the weight on. I mean, she did Transformers 3, and if you can do an action-packed movie like that, you should have been auditioned for Wonder Woman. But the case is, she ended up in another movie, Mad Max Fury Road. And again, that's like the best part of the movies. Like, yeah, Transformers as a movie franchise suck, but when you watch the movie, you watched her because she's just hot. And if you're going to watch a movie franchise where shit blows up and robots fight each other, in the middle of that, I want to see her sexy fine ass. Same thing with Mad Max Fury Road. I didn't pay attention to the fighting. I paid attention to her because she's fine as hell. But she is good enough to have a presence that even if you can't pronounce her name, or you could, you watch the movies, then you know who she is. And to me, she was like she was like the next one. Like, for almost 10 years, she was killing the game. Nobody was on her level for like 10 years. She was just beating people out. She was like Cindy Crawford. She was just beating people. And then finally she retired. And then, like always, she passed the torch. This is another girl that you would want to take out to lunch and dinner if you could become rich and famous. Like if you were a professional football player, a basketball player. This is who I want to date. This is who I would like to take out to lunch and dinner. I mean, I'm just being honest. Most guys on the internet, they're not honest. All right. Coming in at number 3 is Kate Middleton. This girl's good looking. I mean, this woman, I've seen all her movies. It's just funny how you watch somebody's movies and you keep watching them. To me, she came in at a period where her mom was a model and she took after, and she kind of came right in that period where it was her and the other girl I just talked about, that those two were neck and neck. Like, you were going to wonder between those two who was going to be the best one. And she kind of beat her out towards the end because, she's in her late 20s, going her early 30s. But you see why she's at number 3. She's managed to do movies, and every now and then she might pop up on a television show and say hi to the new generation. I mean, if she was any younger, she'll be any higher on this list. Coming in at number 2 is Zendaya. That's another one of my crushes. I like Zendaya because she popped up in those Spider-Man films, but she was already doing singing, and she was already a model prior to her being in these movies. And basically, she's 23. She's like the youngest out of everybody off this list. I mean, she is young, but but we're gonna reveal who's number one. And to me, she's in the prime of her career. She's got maybe another 4 years before I would say the passing of the torch is gonna be passed. Cause Zendaya seems like she's like a callback to Tyra Banks because she's dominated. I mean, everything Tyra Banks is doing, Zendaya's doing it. Movies, television, music, singing. You know, she's everywhere. Commercials. I mean, seriously, she's everywhere. And it's just a shame she won't be in Spider-Man 3. I mean, to me, she seemed like that if they made a reboot to Charlie Angels, she could probably play the main character, and I don't think anybody will have an issue with it. I mean, she can pop up in future movies, future franchises, and if she's 23, she's in the prime of her career. So another 3, 4 more years, yet she might pass the torch to the next generation, because she's been killing it. There's nobody right now that can compete with her on this level, because from the time she popped up, she had an exotic look. She got the perfumes, and right when she popped up, it was like, man, damn, she fine. That's the best thing about Spider-Man. When people watch the Spider-Man movies, they watch her before they watch Spider-Man. And to me, if you were to put her in some, suspense thrillers, or put her in a movie with Denzel Washington, which is good for making you look good in movies, I wouldn't be surprised if that comes down the way. Somewhere in the future, might have an Oscar, might be nominated for an Academy Award. I mean, she's in the prime of her career, so you cannot do a list without having somebody in their prime, right? And plus, guys like her. And women want to be her. She has her own set of player haters, trust me. Because I have player haters. Alright, coming in at number 1 is Kira Gibeer. I can't even pronounce the last name. But it is the daughter of Cindy Crawford. I mean, you look at her picture, she looks just like her mom. It's like, oh shit, here we go again. If anybody is going to be the one that takes over the game for the next 10 years, it's her. She's 18. So she's like the youngest. And she's the one with the most potential, and she's very physically, sexually attractive. And when they brought her on television, and she said, "This is my daughter," people saw the resemblance. Basically, she's gonna be something that's gonna hold the game down for quite some time. The reason why I made the video is because part of it is because I know guys like when I talk about the sexiest women, and then the other half of it is because it's a tribute to my mother, because my mother liked being models, and that's where I get it from. That's where I get the I like supermodels and Victoria's Secret models come from. That's why I did the video. So this was supposed to be a fun, enjoyable, relaxed video, not to take things too serious over the top. Maybe 2 and 3 days we come back to the new content where I drop more videos and television. Next category might possibly be comedy. So you might want to look out for that video. And in the 2 to 3 days, I'm going to make a fitness channel. So when they start to open the gyms up, that'll be some newer content. So until then, peace.